Hi, I'm Brock Gordon from B-Card Entertainment. Now, you may recognize me from such illustrious programming here, such as Big Time Talkers, We Are Not Entertained, Earning Our Stripes, the vlogs. Maybe you've read one of my articles that I've done on today's subject. Basically, as you can tell, we don't hide it here on B-Card Entertainment that we're massive fans of the Kansas City Royals. Just listen to any episode of Big Time Talkers during the baseball season or even leading up to one. Hell, the first episode of the relaunch of Big Time Talkers was recorded in the middle of a Royals parking lot before a game between them and the Reds. I had a concussion. Probably shouldn't have gotten in the game, but blind love and loyalty to this team is what caused me to go. Now, as you may be aware, we have been fans of this team and became fans of this team during the very dark days. I'm 23, Tommy's 22, Ben's about to turn 22. We became fans of this team during dark days. What we're going to do here, and you're watching right now, is a deep dive the Kansas City Royals and the construction of the Blue October teams. Now we'll be starting in 2006 with Dayton Moore's hire. Not really where we're starting. We're starting from about 2007 until present day 2023.
Welcome to Kansas City, Missouri, and welcome to the rise and fall of the Blue October. To understand this team and our story, we first must go back to 1975. Going into the 1975 season, the Royals hadn't made it to the playoffs in the franchise's short history. That, however, was about to change, as Royals would make a run at the AL West crown. Yes, back then, there were only two divisions, and they would fall just short of the playoffs, going 91 and 71, 5 games back of first. You may be wondering why I am telling you this. Well, that would be because this would be the start of the foundation for the Royals for the next 17 years. This was the start of the Royals run where from 1975 until 1993, the Royals only had 5 losing seasons, and in one of those years, they still made the playoffs. This run would lead to 7 playoff series, 2 World Series appearances, including the 1985 World Series win over the cross-state St. Louis Cardinals. This would be the last time the Royals would make it to the playoffs. 1993 was the last time the Royals had a winning record. With a holdover from the 1985 team, the greatest player in the history of the Kansas City Royals, George Brett, still on the field, who oddly enough would be in the front office watching our story here today unfold. If we were to find out what made the Royals of 14 and 15 special, we must first meet the mastermind of this team.
It stings a lot.
Dayton Moore was born in Wichita, Kansas, which is in the heart of the Royal Kingdom. He grew up on the Royals. He watched the 1985 World Series. It was destiny for him to be part of the team he grew up watching. Before he joined the Royals, he started his career in the MLB as a scout for the Atlanta Braves in 1994. The Braves at this time were the kings of baseball. From 1995 until 2005, the Braves won the NL East every single year. They won the NL pennant in 95, 96, and in 1999. They beat the Cleveland Indians in the 1995 World Series to claim the team's 3rd title. They were nicknamed the Team of the 90s. In short, Dayton joined and helped build a juggernaut. In 2005, Dayton would take over as the assistant general manager of the Braves, where they won the NL East for the 10th straight time. On June 8th, 2006, Dayton Moore would pack his bags and head west of the Mississippi River and to Kansas City. One of his first orders of business was to figure out how to build the Royals into title contenders. The 06 Royals were... not good at all at this time. They went 62 and 100, improving from the year previous by 6 wins. This had been the story of the Royals since 1994, having one winning season from 1994 until 2012. There were really good pieces on this team. Pitcher Zach Greinke, who is only in his second year with the team. Catcher John Buck, who is one of my personal favorite Royals from this time period. Pitcher Jeremy Aftel, outfielder David DeJesus, second baseman Greg Zelenik, third baseman Mark Tien, and the legendary first baseman for the Royals, Mike Sweeney. The following year, the Royals would bring up the first two members of the 2014 roster. And with Mike Sweeney becoming more limited at first base, the Royals needed a big bat and a big boy to step up to the plate and help them out.
Billy swings, hits it well, deep left center field. Look at this! Game over!
Billy Butler was a power-hitting first baseman who was drafted by the Royals in a 2004 draft with the 14th overall pick. Billy was not the fastest man in the world, but he did hit a lot. He became a reliable bat for the team, earning the nickname the Royal Butler. The big right-hander played first base and would DH for the team. He would become an all-star, a silver slugger. Billy made his major league debut on May 1st, 2007 against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. He would single in his first game and would go 2 for 4 on the day. The Royals would lose that game. But Billy wasn't the only rookie on the lineup card that day for the Royals. While Billy may not be a Hall of Famer, the other guy has a case going for himself.
By the way they're executing, doing strikes. Whoa, way! What? No way! He caught that!
Alex Gordon from Lincoln, Nebraska. The former Cornhusker would be drafted by the Royals in the 2005 draft with a second overall pick. He would only spend 1 year in the minor leagues, so he would get the call up to the show on opening day, April 2nd, 2007, against the defending champion Boston Red Sox. He would get hit by a pitch to get on base. The Royals would win that game 7-1. He started his career at third base, where he would struggle. It wouldn't be until later in his career that he would become the masterful outfielder, winning 8 Gold Gloves and becoming an All-Star 3 times. The 2007 Royals would improve in wins, but would still only be 69-93. The team would look ahead to what would be next. Unfortunately, 2009 and 2010 would be more of the same. However, the Royals would make some big moves in 2010, starting with the man leading them on the field. Ned Yost was hired as the replacement of Trey Hillman for the Royals manager on May 13th, 2010. He had been in Milwaukee as their manager from 2002 until 2008. Many saw this hire as a smart move by the Royals, as the Brewers during that time period went from the same level as the Royals to the playoffs. Ned came in and would be the perfect man to get the young players in line and developed, ready to make a run at the postseason. In time, Ned Yost would become the winningest coach in the history of the Royals, but at the time, they were terrible in 2010. The Royals would go 67-95. It was clear more moves needed to be made, which leads us to the second biggest move of 2010 for the Royals. In December, Dayton Moore struck a deal that would bring 2 more key players in for the World Series run. Cy Young pitcher Zach Greinke and shortstop Yuniesky Betancourt were shipped off to the Brewers for 2 relatively unknown players.
And then you wonder, well, when does it go too far?
That's right. Oh,
Wow.
Alcides Escobar. He was a slightly better known player in the deal, as he had started for the Brewers at shortstop. He hadn't grown fully into the player that he would become yet, but the flashes were still there. He would become a human highlight reel with his plays at shortstop for the Royals. He would become the leadoff hitter for the Royals as well. And per always, Esky was a speed demon on the base paths. He would become an all-star, a Gold Glove winner, and an ALCS MVP in his time in Kansas City. He became a solid role player for the team. He was brought in more for his defense than for his bat. The man he was brought in with would become a sensation in the MLB for years to come.
So heat is not a problem. And a high fly ball, deep center. Back goes Kane all the way to the fence. And he is able to get it.
Lorenzo Cain was a top prospect for the Brewers that hadn't gotten a full season of play. He would get sent to the AAA Omaha Storm Chasers. When he got to Kansas City, the outfield was manned by veterans. He would only play 6 games for the team in 2010. His role would grow in 2012 and 2013, where he would become an All-Star, a Gold Glove winner, a Thieling's Bible winner, and an ALCS MVP. He became the steady center fielder, a speedster, and a reliable bat on the Royals. In 2010, a little-known pitcher would make his debut, one that would be vital for the playoff runs ahead. Greg Holland made his major league debut in July 2010, where he struggled in his first year. However, the following year, he only went 5-1, 46 appearances with a 1.8 ERA. He would become the closer in 2012 for the Royals, where he tortured batters and had fun doing so. He would soon form one of the scariest bullpen trios of all time, but the pieces still need to fall into place for that to happen. The 2011 season would be the year that most of the pieces did, as the Royals brought up youngsters that would do damage in the major leagues for years to come, including one of Holland's trio in the bullpen.
Kelvin Herrera making his big league debut.
Kelvin Herrera would come in late 2011, where he would come in relief. It didn't go so well for him, but he was on the major league roster, and he wouldn't look back. In 2012, he would have a 2.35 ERA, the lowest on the team that year. He would also pick up 3 saves for him. He and Holland formed quite the duo in the bullpen for the Royals. However, the Royals still needed another good starting pitcher on their roster, and the future ace for the team arrived that season.
And he bunts it over the mound. No play. The Royals tie the game. Danny Duffy gets his first major league hit.
Danny Duffy was taken in the 3rd round of the 2007 draft. A master of the strikeout, the Duffman came into the majors with little hype around him, as no one knew who he was or how good he really was going to be. In his debut on May 18, 2011, he failed to get a decision in a loss to the Texas Rangers. The first 2 years were rough for the 22-year-old, as he was thrust into a dumpster fire that the Royals were at the time. He would need Tommy John surgery the next year. In 2013 and 2014 is where he proved himself to be a pitcher the Royals could depend on. On the lineup that he debuted with would be a player that would become one of the best first basemen the Royals have ever had.
And there's a drive to right by Eric Hosmer, and it is gone.
Eric Hosmer was drafted by the Royals in the 2008 draft. Coming in with all the hype in the world, Hosmer was the hope the fans had been waiting for. He would make his debut on May 6, 2011, in front of a home crowd in Kauffman Stadium as he played first base. He would be walked twice in the game, and the Royals would fall 3-2. But it did not take long for him to find his footing. 5 days later, he would hit his first major league home run at Yankee Stadium. That was just the start for the future All-Star. He would hit 19 home runs that year and bat .293. He would become a 4-time Gold Glover in Kansas City, and a month after he debuted, the Royals made another call-up, and this one would have a call all of his own.
Adam Jones into foul territory. Moustakas, did he make that catch? He did!
Mike Moustakas was selected with the 2nd overall pick in the 2007 draft. Debuting on June 10th, 2011 against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, he would get a hit and would come around to score in that game. The Royals would win 4-2. Mike became another power bat for the team and would end the year with 18 home runs and batting .263. He became an all-star for the team and at one point had the single-season home run record for for the Royals. The third baseman was known for his crazy dives into the stands, something that ran through the dugout a lot on the Royals around this time. But the big culps were not done yet for the Royals. One more player was called up, and it's a man that is still on the roster to this day.
And Salvi blasts it to left field. Gone for a grand slam, and the Royals second in the last 2 games.
Nana in the bullpen.
Salvador Perez was signed to an international deal and debuted on August 10th, 2011 against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Royals, like many times they did that year, lost the game, giving up 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Salvi would play 138 games, bat .292, and hit 13 home runs that year, along with an all-star appearance and his first Gold Glove. The player that was signed in 2007 for $65,000 would become the greatest catcher in the history of the Royals, 7-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover, Comeback Player of the Year, 3-time Silver Slugger. Salvador would be a defensive whiz with power, and one day would become the best home run hitter the Royals would ever have. The Royals roster would stay the same going into the 2012 season. There's a reason that you cannot find any videos from the 2012 Kansas City Royals season. In the first month of play, the Royals won 6 out of their first 21 games. It wouldn't get any better from there. There is a reason that this season, the 2012 season, is sometimes referred to as the lost season. The Royals and their fans would know nothing but pain throughout the whole year. The entire year, it felt like they were trying to make up ground for the terrible April that they had had. By the All-Star break, they were 31-47. By the end of July, they would fall to 42-60. And the worst part about it, the Royals hosted the All-Star game in Kansas City. When you ask a Royals fan about that season, the most common answer you will get is, wasn't it that year that we booed the Yankees guy during the home run derby? Robinson Cano was chosen over Billy Butler that year by Derek Jeter to partake in the home run derby. Cano would go 0 for 10 in the first round, to the delight of the Royals fans in attendance. That was the highlight of the 2012 season for the Royals. The Royals would finish 72-90. The best moment of the year for the fans was booing a Yankees player and chanting Billy Butler's name. The Royals that offseason would look to get better, and they did with one trade. On December 9th, 2012, Dayton Moore worked some more of that trade magic of his and struck a deal with the Tampa Bay Rays to acquire 2 players that changed the direction of the franchise. The first player acquired in the trade was a young right-handed pitcher named Wade Davis. Before he was a waiter and the waiter, he was a busboy. While the Royals put him in the starting rotation when he first arrived in Kansas City, it became clear that the best use for him going forward would be coming out of the pen. In his first season in Kansas City, Davis went 8-11 with a 5.32 ERA. The following season coming out of the pen would be the difference the team would need going forward and would help his career. Following him becoming a mainstay and a threat in the bullpen, he would earn 3 All-Star appearances in Kansas City. The man he came over with would make an immediate impact as soon as he stepped on the mound for the Royals. James Shields came into Kansas City a proven winner, a veteran who had already had an All-Star appearance and had pitched in the 2008 World Series for the Tampa Bay Rays in their loss to the Philadelphia Phillies. Shields brought some wisdom to the team as to how to play, to win, and how to play in the postseason, to a team that, before his arrival, really anything beyond the regular season was pretty much just a pipe dream unless you were somehow good enough to be traded away from this team, because that's all that the the Royals fans and players had known up until this point. Any sort of hope was really just unheard of. Shields would go 13-9 in his first season with the team, a winning record with a 3.15 ERA. And considering the ragtag rotation that he was in, it's pretty impressive. The Royals at this time was an abysmal starting staff. Only 2 of the 5 starting pitchers would start the next year. Wade Davis, as we previously mentioned, would go to become the setup man in the bullpen, while such illustrious Royals legends such as Irvin Santana and Luis Mendoza would soon be let go in that offseason. One of the replacements for that rotation would make his debut in the 2013 season. That man would be nothing less than controversial on the mound.
And he's drilled, and Manny's going after him. And here we go. And Manny and Ventura are going at it on the mound. And this is a big-time brawl at Camden Yards.
Yordano Ventura only made 3 starts for the Royals in 2013, where he would go 0-1 with a 3.52 ERA. His presence would be felt in the future for the team, however, as a starting pitcher, as over the next 3 years he would become a dominant, stellar pitcher for the Royals. Of course, any dominant pitcher must have a nickname. So with his tremendous pitching and his last name, it would only be fitting that he would earn the nickname of Ace. Behind the defensive play of the Royals, along with the emergence of such young stars as Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, Alex Gordon, and a certain 3-headed monster coming out of the bullpen, the Royals would actually earn their first winning season in 10 years. However, just like the 2003 season, the Royals just missed out going on the playoffs, going 86-76. The next year would be one that would test the mettle of the Royals before they could make that one final push in the season. The Royals would pick up 2 players that, well, not at the center of our story, they are important nonetheless. Nori Aoki was brought in to take over right field duties from a constant revolving door that the Royals had. Journeyman players, rookies that never worked out, past their prime players, and David DeJesus. Why did I sing out David DeJesus? Because David DeJesus was fucking awesome. As for Omar Infante, he took over duties at second base from longtime second baseman Chris Getz, who just never could be more than an above average to just terrible ball player. Most of the time, just a below average player. With these pieces and the addition of Jason Vargas to the starting rotation, the Royals were ready to roll out into the 2014 season. What they, nor anyone in Kansas City knew at the time, was what would await them in the season ahead.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of the Rise and Fall of the Blue October. On the next episode, the Royals are gearing up for a very important and fateful year in the history of the franchise. Will they buckle and fall? Or will finally they live up to their name and take the crown? I've been Brock Gordon. Until next episode.